You'll get nothing from your father's will. My stepmother's words, accompanied by a smirk, made me believe her in that moment. I thought she had my dad completely under her influence. However, none of us anticipated the truth hidden within his $54 million state, and how it would utterly shatter her smug little world. On the surface, she played the role of the sweet, smiling wife, but once the cameras were off, once Dad wasn't in the room, Carla's mask slipped. She was cold, dismissive, the kind of woman who smiled with her teeth, but her eyes were calculating. For years, I bit my tongue. I wasn't looking for a fight, and honestly, I just wanted to keep the peace with Dad. But Carla, she made sure I knew my place. Subtle comments here and there. You should be grateful your father still helps you out. Or not everyone can live off their parents forever. It stung, but I pushed it aside. When my dad fell ill, though, that's when the real venom came out. Carla tightened her grip on everything. His appointments, his finances, who got to see him, even the tone of the conversations. Suddenly I was the outsider in my own father's life. And then came the day that's burned into my memory. We were sitting in the lawyer's office, going over some preliminary discussions about Dad's estate. Dad wasn't there. He was too sick at that point, just me, Carla, and a few legal documents spread across the polished mahogany table. Carla leaned back in her chair, crossed her legs, and smirked at me. You know, she said casually, like she was commenting on the weather, you shouldn't get your hopes up. You're not getting anything from your father's will. I've made sure of it, she said it so matter-of-factly. So confident that my stomach dropped, my heart started racing. Her words haunted me, keeping me awake at night. My mind a whirlwind of doubt. Was she right? Had she truly convinced Dad to disinherit me completely? Was I on the verge of losing not only him but everything he had ever wished to pass on to me? But arrogance, you see, is a powerful blinder. Carla, consumed by her gloating and certainty of victory, never realized my father was 10 steps ahead. He wasn't foolish. He knew exactly what kind of person she was, even if he didn't always show it. He also understood the depth of her hatred for me, and in his final months, he made very deliberate choices. The day of the will reading arrived, and I walked into the office, my heart pounding in my chest. Carla was already there, dressed head to toe in designer black, like she was starring in her own funeral drama. She had this smug look plastered on her face, like she'd already won. The lawyer began reading, and at first, Carla's confidence only grew. Dad had indeed left her a generous sum. More than generous, actually. Tens of millions, enough to keep her pampered for life. She leaned back in her chair, practically glowing, but then the lawyer's voice shifted. He began outlining a trust established specifically for me. My father had left me the controlling interest in his businesses, the real estate empire and assets totaling well over half the estate, the $174 million. I watched Carla's smile falter, her breathing hitched. She shifted in her seat, suddenly not so comfortable, and then came the kicker. Dad had left a personal letter for the lawyer to read aloud. It said to my child, I know the past years haven't been easy. I've watched you grow, stumble, and rise again, and I want you to know I've always believed in you. This inheritance is not just money. It's my way of telling you that you were never second place. Not to me, not to anyone. Carla's face went pale. She opened her mouth like she wanted to argue, but what could she say? The words were in black and white, signed by the man she thought she controlled. I didn't gloat. I didn't laugh. I just sat there, calm, while inside. I felt years of her poison melting away. She had spent so long trying to convince me I was worthless, that I'd never measure up, that I had no place in my father's world. And in the end, Dad himself silenced her with the truth. The moment we stepped out of that office, Carla avoided my eyes. No more smirking. No more taunts, just silence. For once I held the power, and she knew it. And the best part, I didn't need to rub it in. Her humiliation was complete. The empire she thought she was inheriting, the control she believed she had secured, it was all gone. Justice wasn't just served, it was delivered in the most poetic way possible through the very man she thought she had manipulated. Sometimes the sweetest revenge isn't a loud, dramatic act. It's the quiet satisfaction of watching the truth unfold, knowing you didn't have to lift a finger because the universe, or in this case, my father, already had your back. If that story sent shivers down your spine, imagine living it.